Death traps. That's how the Met Police has described e-scooters, which I agree are a disaster waiting to happen on our pavements. The tragic reality came to the streets of Wolverhampton this week. Shakur Anoy Pinnock, who was just 20 years old, died after his e-scooter collided with a car. His girlfriend, who was riding as a passenger on the e-scooter, suffered serious injuries but survived. That sad and devastating death follows that of the 35-year-old TV presenter Emily Hartridge, whose e-scooter collided with a lorry in London in 2019. I fear more tragedies like this will follow if nothing changes. Recent research by ITV showed a further 210 people have suffered injuries relating to e-scooters. In my opinion, they are becoming an out-of-control plague on our streets and on our pavements. Not only do e-scooter drivers put their own lives at risk, they terrify pedestrians like me as they whip between the footpath and the road, often at high speeds. Now, officially, e-scooters can only be used if they are hired from licensed operators with speeds meant to be limited at 15.5 miles per hour. They're also not meant to be ridden on the pavement at all. But let's be honest, in reality, neither of those rules are being followed or enforced, with authorities unable to properly police their use. Some motorised scooters actually clock in at speeds of over 40 miles per hour. The Department of Transport is conducting an e-scooter trial with a decision due next year. They must think seriously before legalising these dangerous vehicles. Congratulations today to the Education Select Committee. Not often I congratulate a Select Committee, actually, but I'm happy with them because they're speaking what has become unspeakable for the woke class. The use of the term white privilege, this committee says, is incredibly damaging given the educational disadvantage for poor white pupils. In fact, disadvantaged white students are falling behind every step of the way. The data on this is unequivocal. Take university entry, where only 16% of white British pupils on free school meals achieve places. That compares to 59% of black African and Bangladeshi pupils on free school meals, or 32% of black Caribbean students. The committee is absolutely right to say using the term white privilege when it comes to education is wrong because it promotes disharmony. As they put it, education privilege is the very opposite to what disadvantaged white children experience. Can you believe it? Tomorrow marks 5 years since we went to the polls to vote in historic numbers to leave the European Union. Our superb vaccine rollout proves every minute of every day that our decision was the correct one. The EU, on the other hand, have proven themselves time and again to be petty and pathetic since we made that democratic decision to wave goodbye. Case in point today is its attempt to cut the amount of British content shown on European TV. Now look, the EU point to the need for cultural diversity. But I say good luck trying to erase The Crown and Poldark and Downton Abbey in favour of the sorts of unwatchable dramas and entertainment shows that dominate European networks. Culturally, post-Brexit Britain is in a different league. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping story of the day is the fact that when the Sussexes were welcoming their newborn daughter into the world, one of their Hollywood minions was registering her very own website domain addresses. Try and get your head around this one. Their spokesman tried to explain the mad move to the Daily Telegraph by saying, as is often customary with public figures, a significant number of domains of any potential names that were considered were purchased to protect against the exploitation of the name once it was later chosen and shared. Lilibet was minutes old. No one knew she existed. She was hardly a public figure. The decision seems to cast some doubt too on this suggestion from the Sussexes that they asked the Queen's permission before deciding to call her Lilibet, which, remember, is the monarch's childhood nickname, the name that was used up until his death by Prince Philip. as I wrote in a column for the Mail Online earlier today. In reality, it seems like the first people Harry and Meghan told were the only group of advisors who really matter to them. The Californian bean counters who aim to extract millions of bucks from every aspect of their royal brand. It's genuinely astonishing to me that even when going through what should have been one of the most pure, most beautiful and nerve-wracking moments of their lives, the Sussex machine was thinking about bloody websites. It's so Hollywood, and it shows just how much Harry has changed. And not for the better. That's my view of the world today.